one that has something plenty and the other gets neglected. Those schools don't have the resources if they have schools, and some places like Highland Park don't have the schools. And mom and dads don't feel safe raising their children. You're always worried about it. I was talking to a mom who said that she takes her gun with her when she's taking garbage out to put it out on the street. And people worry about traffic and people driving fast cars and helicopters and police chase and gun violence and not feeling safe to live and raise your family and your children. And then we get taxed and taxed. We get overtaxed for water, for property. You know, I grew up in a place not different from this. 6 sisters, a brother, my family, my father lost his job. And the family fell into financial hardship, deep financial hardship. At times not knowing where our next meal is going to come from. A home that had no running water. I and my mother had to walk blocks to get running water, drinking water, so for the family. And I worked as a janitor. I didn't get paid enough. I had no benefits. And I had no retirement plans. And today we see a lot of people holding on to 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to put food on the table. Okay? And we say, why? And we ask why. We all are children of the same God. And we say, why? And we need to continue to ask these questions, and we need to continue to fight. And as a representative, I'm not a representative of this area yet. If I'm so lucky and honored, I will be in approximately 3 months.
We'll bring you back.
And please bring me back. And hold me to my words.
Right.
You know, don't let that power go to my head. You know, and you'll have my cell phone.
I got it.
And you tell us. And when you need me to be here, call me and I'll show up. You know, I'll come and listen. And I'll talk about our district and the disparities and the uneven treatment, the unfair treatment. And I talk about in the halls of Congress like nobody has ever said to them. And maybe for the first time they will be hearing some of the things, because we need to talk truth to the powers.
Right.
And that's what I will be doing. And I won't be afraid to talk to the powers about the inequity and about the suffering, especially when it comes to our children, for them to get good quality education. So let's fight. You know, I'm with you. I don't live too far from here. I only live like maybe 2 miles north of here. So I'm right here in the neighborhood. Call me. I'm at your service. This is not an award. Winning this election means you hire me. You hire me to serve you. You hire me to represent you. I am a public servant and I will stay in my job as long as you will let me stay in my job. You want me to stay in my job. So that's really my job is, and that's what I need to do. I need to fight for all of you. I may look different, I may speak a little funny, but I have lived the same life. I have the same, when I remember my mother who raised us in a tough time. I grew up in a family with 6 strong women and a strong mother. And she gave me these values that your word matter. Tell the truth, be honest. And the values that my mother gave me, that strong woman, have lasted me for a lifetime. And that's been what I see when I walk around, when I meet very hardworking women trying to raise their family, making sacrifices that only a woman can do for her family, for her children. That reminds me of my own mother, who I miss every day. So this is about family. This is about our life, our quality of our life. This is about fairness. And we need to speak. And I'm here to introduce myself to you. My name is Shri Thanedar. I'm a scientist. I came to the United States as an immigrant because my family was hurting and I wanted to do better for my family. So I came to the United States when I was 24 years old, got good education. It was the education that helped me pull my family out of poverty. And then I started a small business and I grew a small business, created jobs. And that's what I want to see. I want our young people to see that as an example. We talk about American dream. To me, an American dream is our children have better future than we did. Right? We all care about our children. We care about their future. And they ought to have better future than we did. Better life than we did. That's not always the case. And that American dream is fading all across America. That American dream is fading in urban areas. That American dream is fading in low-income areas. That American dream often is non-existent in Black and brown communities. And we want to revive that. We need to revive that. We need to give our children a hope that they can achieve that American dream, that they can be anything that they want to be, anybody that they want to. We need our young people to have high ambition, high goals, and work hard to achieve them. And we as a government need to make that accessible. We need to give them a helping hand so they can help themselves. Because we need to close this wealth gap. 6 billionaires have half of the nation's wealth. Half of the nation's wealth. Like 4 in 10 people in this country, if they have a financial emergency that requires $1,000 or $2,000, they won't be able to afford that. And we got to change that. We got to close that wealth gap. We got to fight racism. And we need to fight to achieve a society that has no hate. We need to achieve a society that's fair and equitable, socially equitable, racial equity, economic equity. That's what we need to fight. That's what I want to fight for. And I fight for that because of my own lifetime experiences. And I fight for that because I see me and myself into the people in my district. So that's what I want to do. But I would like to leave some time for some questions, and let's have a little bit of dialogue. It's okay.
Well, absolutely. Wait, hold on right there. It probably will be. I enjoy hearing you each time you speak. But I'm certainly of the impression that there's one race,
Yes.
and that's the human race. And I just want you to speak to those of us who are here. Let us know. Highland Park, the heart of Highland Park is here, right now. You becoming the rep for the 13th district, which is us. Promise us you'll be here for us, because it's almost like people forget about Highland Park, 2.9 miles radius, and it seems like we're behind the least and that sort of thing. But I would like for you, we want to see you as a champion for the city, as one of the governors mentioned that Highland Park was a city of promise,
Yes.
and it is. I would like for you to tell us that you'll be with us, meeting our needs, all possibilities, all of the strength that you have, be here for the people of Highland Park.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll be here for Highland Park. I would like to sit down with the city council. I'm glad that we have the faith community, faith leaders here. I see a fire chief here. I see city council members here. So we got representation and I see residents here. So we all really need to put our heads together. This is not something that one person can do. This is something that we need to put our heads together. And how can we bring prosperity to this area? How can we bring prosperity? How can we create good quality jobs? It's about economically lifting. We can talk about voting rights. We can talk about civil rights. We can talk about green energy. We can talk about climate change. But all of that won't mean a thing if we can put food on the table. If we can, right?
Sir.
If we can give our children good education. If we can feel safe walking our child to the school or going to the grocery store. None of that, all that means much. So we need to bring economic equity. And that means we need to bring industry here. We need to have factories here. We need to empower people to start their own businesses. Because we need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, and I support that. But that alone isn't going to create generations of wealth. So for do that, we need home ownership. We need to promote businesses. We need to promote entrepreneurship. So that's the kind of a focus that I want to. All these things happened. It didn't happen overnight. And we are not going to fix all these problems overnight. But we need to begin to address. We need to have a master plan. That's what I would like to sit down with the city council. If we don't have a plan and if we don't have goals, then we don't know where we're going. We don't. So how are we going to bring economic empowerment? How are we going to bring businesses here? Those are kind of things that I want to talk. And I don't have the answers. But I want to learn and listen to the city council to do that. So there's a lot that needs to be done.
Sure.
And I'm here for you. I'm here to fight that.
Well, Mr. Thanedar, we do have the council president here tonight. And like yourself and with our council here, the election is a few weeks. That will determine who will be the mayor.
Yes.
The new city council, old city council, and et cetera, so forth, so on. I'm pulling for Mr. Kleiber. He's here to speak for himself. I follow him, I support him, and he's younger than I am, as you can see.
Yeah.
Trying to be better looking, but I. Sure.
All right, cool. Thank you, Bishop, to the pastors and ministers. Thank you, Shri, for coming out. And I enjoyed everything you said. I agree with everything you said. And no matter what happens after this, we have a fight for you. Because you talk about inequalities, racial injustice. Right now, the situation with Gleewood is all of that.
Yes.
And that can determine Highland Park's future. So when we talk about fighting and moving forward and building with the next level of governments and sitting down and coming up with a plan, the plan needs to be how do we regulate Gleewood and stop what's going on with this Gleewood situation, because it's racial injustice.
Yes.
You know, they want to charge Highland Park 4 or 5 times more than the rest of their customers. You know, they put a ton of money into TV and propaganda to beat us down, and now judgments are turning, and you know they're forcing our hands without a fair shake or any intervention. You know, they make Highland Park seem like we're not paying our bills or we're not doing what we're supposed to do, and that's incorrect. We're paying our bills according to contracts that we have with them. The issue is they want more, and the issue is no one else is stepping up and fighting for us. Okay, it's other entities that own property here in Highland Park.
Yes.
The state, the county, they owe water bills also.
Yes.
The only people they're talking about is Highland Park. So we need you, and you know, we need to bust up and go to Lance or whatnot, but we need more support. We need more regulation to fight this legal issue because, you know, it's serious.
It is
You know,
serious.
they are here to take over Highland Park. That's all it is. It's a land grab.
Yes.
Highland Park is valuable. Highland Park is the city of promise. We know it's a lot of things happening positive to come back. So Gleewood and the powers that be look at this as valuable.
Yes.
So they want to take it.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
crook.
That's right.
And nobody else is stepping up and talking for us.
Yes.
You know, they want to play a role where they don't want to get involved. No, that's not right. So, you know, like Bishop said, we want to hold you accountable. We want to work with you.
Yes.
We want to give you proper ammunition. Highland Park is a tight-knit city that will fight with you.
Yes.
So we're not sending you in the battle alone.
Yeah.
You know, myself, Councilman Bates, the pastors, the ministers, and the residents. This is what we built for. But
Yes.
we need more support. We
Yes.
need support from the federal level. We need support from the state level because somebody has to intervene. We're not asking for bailout. Highland Park can take care of itself.
Yes.
Oh, no.
But when the piracy comes in,
Yes.
you know, they want to take and, you know, not. So if they want to take all this money, how do we maintain or run our department and run our city? You know, they're trying to seize our general fund. You know, all of this is happening and no one is saying anything. All people say is Highland Park ain't paying their bills. It's not true. We've overpaid. We don't need your support.
Yes. Let's look at that. $25 million. Is that what it is? Last number I heard.
It changes. Depending on the day.
Yeah.
Depending on when they get up and say, well, let's charge Highland Park this today.
Yes.
And that's what's been going on.
Yeah.
Every other month is something different.
Yes.
And now it's never been a trial. Yet we're paying and we're paying out. And that's a problem. It's
Do you have good legal representation?
we have good legal representation. They have 100 lawyers.
100.
They got tons of money.
Yes.
So good legal representation only going to take you so far.
Yes.
We need oversight. We need people to step in on the other level to regulate what's going on
Yes.
and call what's right is right. So
Yes.
that's a
You
fight.
know,
That's a good fight for you.
Yes.
Yes.
This is an important issue. And, you know, after the election, let's sit down in a round table and with the city and let's talk and let's have an action plan. How are we going to deal with this? And,
Action plan in a bus. Okay?
Yes.
To go to Lansing, and because we have been trying hard to fight this.
Yes. And I think we have a power if we all unite and if we all show up.
Right.
We have a lot of power.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we have a lot of power, and we got to exercise our power by getting everybody together And we need to really make life better. We need to make life better for everybody. And that's what we need to fight for.
Representative Thanedar, Pastor Devin from Revival Tabernacle. I heard you talking, and I love the plan about, making sure that we bring industry here, factories, more jobs, empowering entrepreneurs within this city. I remember having a conversation with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and we were talking about the biggest issue that faces this city, and it's poverty. You hit it the nail on the head. It's poverty, point blank. I really want to hear a little bit more deeper from you. I mean, I know some of the larger things, but in your opinion, what do you feel needs to happen in terms of directly addressing the poverty that we see? I mean, we know it kind of starts from a mindset and really empowering the people to kind of really step up. But when we are already beneath ground zero because of the inequities that have happened among Black and brown communities, what can we do, or what can we lean on your position if you are afforded the opportunity to represent the 13th Congressional District to be able to say, hey, this is what we need and what is it that you can bring back here? I mean, realistically, because I know, everything isn't in your control as our representative of the 13th District. But what do you have control over, and what can you essentially, realistically bring back to this city, to this district, to be able to help address the poverty issue?
Very good question. Very good question. And we need to fight this at two different levels, the poverty issue. One is where we need to get immediate help, because this is, people need to put food on the table. People need to be able to take care of transportation needs, take care of their health needs, medical needs. So we need a certain amount of help. But that's not sustaining. What we need to do on a long-term basis is economic empowerment. And that economic empowerment comes through good education.
Absolutely.
Not only academic education, but trade skills.
Yes.
There used to be a time when somebody could get out of high school and be able to get a good trade job, work for an auto company, and raise a family and have a pretty good life. And that doesn't happen anymore,
I like that.
right? So we need to create trade skills. We need to have trade schools. So we need to do this. We're not going to bring federal dollars as help every year, and we don't want that. We don't want to have a life that depends on federal dollars coming in, help coming in. We need to do that now. But in the long run, we need to give people the skills, the trade skills, the education, make education affordable. The children to get good education. People who wants to start small businesses, give them the seed capital that they need. Give them the training that they need to learn how to start a business so that they can make wealth, they can make financial independence for themselves. So on two fronts that we need to fight this. One is the short-term help now to make our life better. Things are bleeding, things are hurting. We really need help now. And then we need a plan for long term, where we bring factories in, where we train people, where we make this place more beautiful so people would want to come and live in our city.
Yeah.
The higher the population is, more tax dollars that the city would get, and would have the resources to take care of things. So, we really need to rebuild our city, have a vision, a big vision, and then implement that. We can't just keep going like this.
We cannot.
We cannot keep on going like this because this is like a death spiral. We go everything every day. Next year is going to be worse than this year if we continue on this path. So we need to have a vision to take this to the next level. And we can only do that with citizens' cooperation. You know, we all need to come together and say this is not acceptable. We can't live like this. And we need equity. We need financial, economic equity. And that's what we need to do to get where we need to go. And it's not going to happen overnight,
No.
but we need to have a plan. The city needs to have a plan.
Councilman Bates, thank you.
So, you spoke about the war, or I'm sorry, poverty. And, the war on poverty has been around since the Johnson administration, 64, 66. And it's gone about as well as the war on drugs. It's just something that's just continued throughout the decades. And then we realized that obviously that poverty is more of it's a collective issue, not necessarily individual issue. But I'm more interested in your story in terms of what inspired you from an entrepreneurial perspective. And I don't just mean you came to this country as an immigrant. I mean specifically at age 24, when you got here, what was the first thing you did? When did you decide that, okay, I'm going to enroll in college and obtain whatever your credentials are? When did you then transition that education into an opportunity to start your business? When did you decide to select a type of business, its location, what you were going to do? Would you have considered bringing that type of business to a city like Highland Park? Those are the things that will help me understand more so if you can address this issue from a larger perspective, if I can understand your story of how you became successful at what you've done so far.
Good question. Good question. And, let's go back to 1979. That's when I came to the United States. And as I said to you, 6 sisters, a brother, my family was hurting. And the place where I grew up didn't have the industry, that didn't have the jobs, didn't have the resources. Just like your city. This is the kind of a city that I grew up. No opportunities to grow, no opportunities to make a good living. And so I left and came here because I'd heard so much about America. And one of the first things, now, when I came, I did have a education. I had a bachelor's degree and a master's degree because in India, people who don't have resources can get free education, free public education. Here, college costs so much money.
Right,
You know.
exactly.
You come out of college with $60,000, $70,000 debt. I had no debt when I came out of college because of public funding of education. And that's why I am very passionate about making education affordable. You know, college should not cost the kind of money that it costs. So that was one advantage I had because the government paid for education for people who don't have resources. And that's the best investment you can make in people because you get 10 times return. The government gets 10 times return if you do that. And that's something that we need to focus on. Make college, community college free. Make education, higher education free, accessible to all. So that was one of the benefits. But when I came here and I went to school to get more education, I worked part-time. I had a job waiting on tables, but I also have a job to teach the undergraduates chemistry. And they would give me $300 a month. And then I would send $75 every month home to India. Every month I would, as soon as I get paid, I would take $75, send it home so my mother could put food on the table. And so that was taken care of, back then. $75 bought a lot of food, enough for my family to feed. And then I graduated, I got my degree, a PhD in chemistry. I went and worked for a chemical company, got a job in, before I did that, I had a job at the University of Michigan. So I was at the University of Michigan from 1982 to 84. I'm an inventor. I invent new things, new medicine, new molecules. That's what my specialty is. And then I got a job as a chemist. So I left Michigan in 1984 to go to Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. And I worked there as a chemist. And I wanted to do better. And I wanted to go higher in the organization. But there was issues. I went to open a bank account one of the first years when I came. And a bank officer came to me and said, "We don't want people that look like you opening a bank account in our bank." And then I couldn't advance in my company, even though I worked very hard. And that's what motivated me. The poverty motivated me to fight. I said, I'm not going to take this. Why is this happening to me? I'm not going to take this. So my motivation came. Every time I'm down, every time bad things happen to me, I could have just put my head down and said, I'll give up. Or I can say, I'm going to fight this because this is not fair. I'm not going to accept this. So every time I saw something bad happen to me, every time I lost and I had a defeat, I was humiliated. What I did was I used that negative energy, made that into a positive energy and said, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this. And that's what I kept doing. I kept fighting and fighting. And when I saw that this organization where I was working and putting a lot of hard work wasn't appreciated, I said, I'm going to start my own business. I had no money. So I found this little business that a woman who was 65 years old, she wanted to retire. And she only had like 2 employees. And the business wasn't very big. It was only like a 900 square feet small business. And I went to work for her. And she would give me $15 an hour. I'd learn her business. And then I said, I want to buy your business. How much you want? And she said, I want $75,000. And I said, I don't have $75,000. So I went to a bank and 6 banks turned me down. No reason given. 6 banks, and I kept going, one bank after another. Finally, I found a bank who said they'll give me $50,000 loan. And then this owner took back a note for 25, and that's how I bought that business. I couldn't pay myself. I had $3,000 on my credit card that I used as a working capital, and that's how I started that business. Then at one time, that business became valuable. In 2008, that business was worth about $200 million. Yeah, but so I work hard, and that was not all. Then I lost that all in that recession, 2008 recession. But the bank came and foreclosed my business. The bank came and foreclosed my home in 2010, and I lost everything I built. And I didn't put my head down, and I didn't give up. And my wife and I put all our stuff before the bank was going to take our home. We put our stuff in a budget rental truck. And the bank that took over my business, they foreclosed on it. I was living from there for the last time, and I had won 2 awards, Entrepreneur of the Year award from Ernst & Young. And I asked them if they'll let me take that. And I said, put that in my box. I said, I'm going to win another one of these someday. So my wife and I put all our stuff in a budget rental truck and we start driving. We drive from St. Louis, Missouri to Ann Arbor, Michigan. All night we drove. And we found a little lab that had gone out of business and I restarted my business in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And for 6 years I ran my business. And then the business was doing good now. And I said, there has to be more to life than just doing good for my family. My kids are doing good, my family is doing good. So I sold that business, took some of the money, gave it to all of my employees, every one of my employees. And I said, I'm going to go be a public servant. My family is blessed, and I want to go help others. And that's when I decided, and I said, how am I going to help others? And I said, the best thing to do would be the governor of this state.
Yes.
And so I ran for governor. Little did I know that that's not that easy. It's a system.
Yeah.
I got 200,000 votes. 200,000 people thought I should be the governor of this state. But Northern Michigan did not vote for me. But Detroit did. I got a lot of love in Detroit and Highland Park and Inkster, And so after I lost that, I said, I'm not going to go back and run another business. I'm going to keep in public service. And so I ran for state rep in the Detroit region. I came over here, lived in Detroit, ran for state rep, won that, and did good work for better psychiatric help, better psychiatric hospitals, more money for school counseling. We brought more money for schools. There's a lot that I did in the last 2 years. And now I feel that I need to go to the federal government and work in Washington, D.C. to bring money home. So the story is never give up. That's what we need to, our young people, that's what we need to tell our young people, don't give up. Don't give up and fight and fight. And we as government has a role to help people, give the helping hand so that people can do good for themselves.
Yes, thank you for sharing such a personal story, because I think that is more effective and inspirational to a lot of people to know that you've actually gone through adversity as opposed to just saying, I've had a hard life, but you specifically have shown how one can achieve success in this country and then fall and then recover and then go on to contribute. And I think that's a very valuable story. I would just ask, did your first business have an LLC?
Yes.
And so you still lost your home?
Yes.
Wow.
Because as a small business, you pledge everything.
Right.
The bank wants everything that you own
Right.
to be collateralized for that loan.
Right.
And this is Bank of America, and when this was in the 2008 recession,
Yes.
and they got billions of dollars of taxpayers' money
Yes, that's right.
because they were too big to fail.
Right.
But this bank had absolutely no problem closing me down.
Right.
And I kept begging, those were the days where I'm trying to hold on to my business. I was really literally working 18 hours a day. And I would say to the bank that, give me time. I will turn this business around and you'll make your money and I will make mine. But they saw there was enough value in that. I had owed them $24 million. They took my business that was worth about $200 million.
Wow.
They sold it for $30 million.
Yeah.
And they got their 24 million, then they had 6 million left, and they said, we're going to use that because you owe us penalties and fines, late payment penalties. So they kept all of that money. This is the bank that got billions from the federal government. This is the greed of the big corporations. That's what we're fighting here.
Do you still bank with them?
I don't bank with them.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again, really. That was very informative, and I think a lot of more people should know that, because I only knew of your business in Ann Arbor, but this definitely, I would say, paints you in a different light.
Yes. I would love to get a picture with some of you, all of you.
Sure.
All of us?
Oh yeah, if you allow us.
If that's what you want, and
Yeah.
all of us can get around here,
Or
up
a
here.
few, maybe a picture here and a picture over there.
We can make
How's
that.
that?
Okay.
Yeah. So that I will remember all of you. Yeah. Maybe we can just.
Well, I remember that story, so that's for sure.
Gather around,
Hey
gather
there.
around. Let's get some of this. Everybody over.
I can. You insist. Or you want me shorter than all of y'all?
You know, the nice thing about us short people is we get to stand in the front.
All right.
You know what? Just come on over.
You can get everybody.
Yeah, we can get everybody. I want to make sure this picture is substantial. Y'all want to get in? I'll make sure everybody get it. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure everybody gets it.
Make sure
Come on,
Chief
it's all right. Come on, Chief. There you go.
See, this guy's part of holy manifestation.
Big smiles, everyone. Come on, Highland Park. Park. Awesome.
Thank you.
Can we give a great big hand to Representative Shri Thanedar? Listen. I wanted to be sensitive of his time because I know that he has to go, but I'm asking that you don't leave. We have two other things on our agenda that we need to do tonight that is going to absolutely benefit you. We have Elder Sandra Dennis from New Grace Missionary Baptist Church right here in Highland Park, who is going to come.
He just got a few minutes. He wanted to do an announcement. So you got time?
After he do this, I can.
He's going to present another presenter.
I thought we were going this quick.
Come on, Council President.
Yeah, this is quick, yeah. And it's, while I got the pastors and the ministers here, so we just thank you, Shri, once again. So City Council, we just left a special meeting and we just approved a resolution to provide an amnesty program for 15 days for 50% of your water bills. So I know a lot of the churches, commercial churches, so anybody that's, and I got a list if you want to know if you want it or not, but it's a good chance to pay off your water bill. It's 15 days from November 1st to November 15th, 50%. You can pay off your bill, 50% of the bill.
Just pay mine off in full. There's a retroactive.
No,
Should have told me this was coming. I saw you last night.
It happened today. So y'all start November 1st for 15 days. Commercial, residential, 50% of the bill.
Awesome.
Because
I need that.
Yeah, because after that, the city's gonna have to take a stronger stance on delinquent water bills because of the pressure that we're getting from Gleveland. So we really need you to take advantage of this 15 for 50. The 15 days for 50%. Please take advantage. If you know anybody, if you have questions as far as the churches or anything like that, if you have questions on where you at with your bills, please reach out for me. But I definitely want you to take advantage of this opportunity before the city has to move to stronger methods to get our money because Gleewood is not making it easy for us. Like I said, there's a lot of racial injustice going on and the city needs to work with the residents and the businesses of the city to start capturing some of this money so we can hold off Gleewood until we can get to a trial or something where we can get a more fair outcome. So that's it. Thank you.
Great.
So Council President he was nice about it. It's gonna be harsh. We have to collect this revenue. It's gonna be harsh. So I need people to really understand that. And now we're talking property taxes. We're talking shut-offs. It's gonna, because Gleewood has just pressed us against the wall. And we gotta resolve this. So please don't take this lightly. They are serious. And this is the only hand we've been dealt right now.
Thank you, Council President and Councilman Bates. Come on, let's give our city leadership a hand. Elder Sandra Dennis, listen, pastors and ministers, let me tell you what happens. As a matter of fact, Bishop and I just got a text. Bishop Ricardo Thomas, his daughter, is in the hospital right now, and they are checking her out. There is a lot of pressure that comes with the call, amen? And so, yes, Pastor Lott. So, and how many know that a lot of times this pressure can lead to a lot of mental stress? And we carry so much that we don't have proper avenues to be able to disseminate that off. Well, we have some help. I want Elder Dennis to come at this time. She's going to present some great resources to us that she is making available. She is a licensed therapist.
Yes, sir.
And she's going to come and just make some resources available to us as pastors and ministers here in the city of Highland Park. Let's say amen for her as she comes.
What's quick?
About 15, 20 minutes. That's good?
All right, I got another engagement.
Okay.
To be there.
All right. Pastor Goff, as I'm speaking, will you be mind handing these out
I
just
got
for
you.
the sake of time, please? So as he said, I am Elder Sandra Dennis. I am under the leadership of Pastor Leon Moorhead, newly installed at New Grace Missionary Baptist Church down the street. I am also the owner and founder of Silver Lining Organization, which is a counseling organization out in Southfield, Michigan. And I'm here before you because one of the things that Pastor Goff said, which is I am so glad to hear him say, is there are some things that we need to unlearn, right? And one of those things is that counseling is a taboo. That in our spiritual community that we do not need counseling. That is something that we need to unlearn.
Right.
Because pastors, ministers, elders are under a lot of pressure. So in those folders that he passed out, you will see my PowerPoint, but you will also find my business card attached to it as well. And so here, why is mental health important for our overall health? It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps determine how we cope with stresses in our life, be physically healthy, have good relationships, make meaningful contributions to our community, like we were just talking about here, work productively, and realize your full potential. One of the things that parishioners forget is that pastors and ministers are people too.
Say that again.
That you all are people too, that we all are people too. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, just for the parishioners, life happens for all of us as well, amen? So we go through death, we experience death. Pastors, ministers, and elders experience divorce, unfortunately, but it does happen. They go through financial struggles. They go through addictions, and oftentimes with the addictions, they go through it privately because as a pastor, because as a minister, you don't want your congregation to find out about it because what does that look like, right? I had a minister sit on my couch and say, I was spiritually dying and I was around a room full of ministers and nobody noticed. That hurt my heart. I was spiritually dying in a room full of ministers for years and nobody noticed and never reached out until she was at her very last breaking point. Now here's the thing, it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist too.
That's right.
It is okay. So we have to break the taboo that we don't need counseling. I want you to pray, just like you go to the doctor, you pray, but you still go. Well, your brain is also a part of a muscle. It's a muscle, and it also gets sick. And there is people like myself who has been trained. I went to Ashland Theological Seminary.
Yeah.
I am a spiritual counselor, and I am also an elder in the church. But if I fall and break my leg, I'm going to the doctor, and I'm going to pray on the way. I was in a car accident. The first thing I said was Jesus, as they took me to the hospital in the ambulance. But I went to the hospital to get that cast on my leg. And so if anything happens when we're under stress, when we feel like things are going on, we need to get to somebody, pray on the way. And in fact, if you come and sit on my couch, I'm going to pray with you. But I'm going to also go give you these skills and techniques and tools that I have learned. And as candidate Thanedar was just talking about, he said $60,000. I got $270,000 in student debt. Okay? So I'm here, I'm experienced, and I'm here to help you. So in Faithfield newsletter, there's a pastoral mental health report. 1 in 10 pastors just admitted to contemplating suicide in the past year, 2021. That's too many. And those are just the ones that admitted to it. Yeah. 1 in 5, which is 18% of pastors, deal with depression to some type of degree. Every day, I'm seeing this. Now, we use it often as a cliche, but here's the truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Say that. Right.
You cannot. We say it and we move on, but the reality is you cannot pour from an empty cup. We have to learn to feed people from the saucer. We have to learn to feed them from the overflow. But when you draw out, when you run out, how are you being refilled? How are you doing that? How are you taking care of yourself? We are seeing it as a buzzword, but self-care is real. Self-care is something that is just not a fad. It is real, because if you don't, how many know that stress will take you out? Stress will actually kill you. Stress will break your body down. Stress will make you lose your mind. It does. And I call it the Coca-Cola bottle effect. And here's why. If I took a Coca-Cola bottle and every time I was going through some problems, I didn't talk about it, I didn't release it, I just kept shaking that bottle. I just kept shaking the bottle. And then I took the bottle and I handed it over to Pastor Goff. What is that going to happen? It's going to explode. It's going to go all over him. And that's what happens. We keep pressing down stuff because society says that we're supposed to just pray about it. And I am a Bible-believing Christian, and I pray daily. But I also know that God called me to this, that it chose me. He chose me. I didn't choose it. Because with it, I carry a lot of people's problems too. But I also have a therapist for myself. And so every good therapist has a therapist. And I want to be able to say that every good pastor has a therapist. Starting with Jesus, of course. But every good pastor has a way or outlet, somewhere to release all of that stuff. And I want that to be Silver Lining Counseling. That is why I'm here, to offer good services to you in a safe and confidential environment. I am under law to keep what you tell me, unless you are a threat to yourself or to someone else. I have to keep what you tell me under wraps. But I am here to offer that to you. And here's the truth. Just like you go to a doctor and that doctor does not suit you, every therapist might not be the therapist for you.
That's right.
And I may not be that therapist for you. But one, you can't know that unless you come and see me. That's the first thing. But if I am not that person for you, I have no problem with referring you to someone else who can help you, or helping you find that person that works for you. Because it's not about the money. It's about getting you healthy and keeping you healthy so you can continue to serve and do that which God has called you to do. Amen? Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you so very much. You know, the scriptures tell us in the book of James, ministers and pastors, that if we confess our sins, that he is what? Faithful and just to forgive us of all our sins and to do what? Cleanse us from all our righteousness. You go later on in the book of James, it says, confess your faults one to it. Watch this. That ye may be what? Healed. Notice, forgiveness of sin, cleansing from unrighteousness comes from God. But he puts our healings in us confessing one to another. Let that just kind of marinate for a minute. So this is the reason why it's important to strive for community. And I believe that not only do we have that with one another, but also trained professional help is also a part of that community that we need to partake of. It is so good. Thank you again, Elder Dennis. Thank you, Representative and candidate Shri Thanedar, who stayed through this portion of the meeting. You didn't just talk and run off. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Bishop, it is.
Yeah, we have this great, fantastic singing group.
Amen.
And led by Bishop Sean Coney, and they were very patient to wait through the entire session. And let's bring them on.
Amen. They're going to minister to our hearts. And Bishop as always, make some food available to us. So you don't want to leave without getting some food. So Bishop Sean Coney is going to come and minister to us in song, and then we'll be ready to eat. But don't leave unless you're giving your offering, because we do got dues, and we got to make sure that we take care of that.
Yes, sir.
Greetings to everybody. That time has been far spent. We have to go. And I asked them if they would just be kind to just sing from their seats, and that would be just fine. We're just going to do one number, and we're going to just spree on out of here because we know that time has been far spent. Thank you, Bishop. And thank you, Highland Park. Thank you, everybody. I love you, Jesus. Y'all still sing with me. I worship and adore you. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you more than anything. If we're going to rebuild Highland Park, we got to have the name of Jesus. So come on, say it. I love you, Jesus. Thank y'all. Just want to tell my heart, my mind, my soul belongs to you. Way back from Calvary, that's why I'm praying. I live in We thank you for all that you've done. We appreciate you, Lord. If you don't do nothing else, we just want to tell you.
And Pastor Coney, Bishop Coney is Highland Parker. His church is right over on Puritan. Those of you who are in that neck of the woods, go over there and you will get fired up every time you do. Amen, amen. It's kind of make you feel like having church. Am I right, Pastor? Pastor, just hit it one time for us. Go, just one time, Pastor. Come on, we got your back.
Want to say something?
Yeah, man. What he was just saying.
I love you, Jesus.
Come on!
I worship you. Come on, Smith. Just want to tell you, Lord, I love you.
I love you, Jesus. And I worship and I adore you. I just want to tell you, I love you. I love you. My brothers and sisters, all right. We do need to take our offering tonight. We got some expenses that we must take care of. We have food over there. We have to give our caterer something tonight, and also we have a gentleman out looking out after our cars and making sure everything is safe. And he can assure you that he's fully equipped to handle it if anything comes down. So those two we do have to take care of. And so why don't we just do this right quick before everybody leaves? I thought I would give 70, I better give 100.